Sorry about that. 1 second. I didn't know that music was on. How's it going, everybody? What's happening? We have a new friend on today, Susan Walter. We're going to pull her up in just a second. I just want to say to everybody, thank you for your continued love and support and contributions as we keep plowing our way through this fantasy. The human is the hero. I am Soul. We are. We've been gifted a little condo until until day after tomorrow, and then we're going to see what happens from there. Not really sure what's happening, but this seems to be the space that we're all sharing as all of our skills and higher skills, gifts, and abilities are coming to the forefront. Our memories are coming back. Anything you can do, I can do. Anything you experience, I can experience. We're just in a big uh, soul soup, sea of soul soup or soul soup of sea. Anyway, let's get Susan up here. If these shows resonate with you, please share as we are, obviously being suppressed uh, quite a bit. Hello, Kamara Ford. What's happening? Gonna see you soon, I hope. All right. Let's see. Get Susan here. I just ate some jalapenos, so my nose is running. Okay. There you are.
Hi there.
What's happening? Welcome to Soul Speaks 5D.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure to meet you. Sorry about the mix-up, but I knew we had to do it because I don't know how you got through the crowd. We've got a huge line of people. I mean, it's got to be over 100, 150 people, and I direct most of them. I just direct to Morgan. She's the producer. She puts all this together. I just have to
Spirit
show up.
works in many mysterious ways.
That's right. So when you got through, I thought it was my friend Sandra Walter. I said, I didn't know Sandra was coming on. And she said, no, that's not Sandra Walter. That's Susan Walter. And I was like, oh, Susan Walter. Well, but like you said, there are no mistakes. There's no coincidences. I saw a bit of your show with Greg, my friend Greg Prescott, who we just hooked up with a few.
Yeah, there was some fun questions asked that day.
Was there really?
Yeah.
I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I don't watch a whole lot of anything, but I just went on it, just to give. I always try to pop in and support my friends a little bit, make a comment, put a like up, and all that. But I did catch a few minutes of it. Yeah, he's been around a long time. We're gonna try to get together here in the Siesta Key Beach, Sarasota, Florida area here in the first week or second week of February. Try to have a little get together, a little gathering. See if we can
Sounds
get
fun.
him. If we can
Wish
get him
I
to
was
come.
down there. It's a whole lot warmer there than it is here.
Yeah, yeah. We've been traveling the country, and we started to head south as the weather started to move in. So we're happy to be hanging out here for the next few weeks, if we can. Not if we, and we'll find a way. Just like this was arranged, we'll figure out a way.
I'm in the Kansas City, and we got a fun thing going on here on Sunday with the Super Bowl.
Oh, you have the Super Bowl there. What?
Yeah, well, it's not here. It's actually down there. It's our local team is in.
Oh, I don't follow sports much anymore. I used to be a sports.
Yeah, I normally don't either, but when the home team is, you kind of gotta, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody says they can't hear. I think that's on your end. Yeah, I don't see anybody else saying that.
On my end.
No, not on your end. It's on their
Oh,
end.
okay.
Yeah, just yeah, I don't watch it much, and but I did see that kid come onto the scene a couple of years ago, and I saw just a couple of clips, and he's just amazing. So yeah, that's cool. Now, this is a kind of an unconventional. It's not really a talk show. It's more of a conversation. So you're welcome to ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't really rehearse anything. I don't do a very good job of reading bios, and I just try to keep it spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and depending on what we're talking about or doing, a little courageous. So anyway, when did you wake up? I know you had a near-death experience. Are there?
Yeah, my first near-death experience was at the age of 4, and the second at the age of 6, during life-saving surgeries.
Wow.
And during those experiences, I was introduced to 3 of my own angels.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was just able to see them and communicate with them all the time. And to be honest, I didn't realize nobody else could.
Yeah.
Um,
When you as when this started for you, uh, I mean, were you able to see them all the time? I've met a couple of
yes.
people. I
Hmm.
met a couple of people that see them like just like us, to see them all the time. That's how you
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like, yeah, you remember what that ray of sunshine kind of coming between the clouds is, that kind of that glow.
Mm,
That's kind of what it is. So they're very, very transparent.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that presence is there for me all the time.
Yeah, I've met, obviously quite a few people, 1,700 shows, but I've met on the show and off quite a few people that work with angels. I know before I woke up 8 years ago, or whatever you want to call that, um, I had an experience on a plane. I used to suffer seizures from the age of 15 to about 50, and I'm taking off from San Antonio to Chicago, and we get up, and I'm going to have a seizure, and I did. But I knew, so I ran up to the front cabin, and and I told the stewardess I'm going to have a seizure or I'm going to get sick or something. And she anyway, I ended up flopping on the ground, and my body went cold, and I shot out of my body, my light body, and I ended up coming to this clearing, and there was a 12-foot angel, and we had a conversation about the future. And she gave me some names, and things happen and so on. And I've had a few other experiences with angels. They're about 12-foot angels, and they worked with me a
Mhm.
lot in Houston when I was doing what I didn't know it was grid work, but it was grid work. Yeah, so they've been very powerful in my life and many other people. One of the questions that I heard Greg ask, and it was right when I turned the video off, or somebody I think had asked, what's the difference between an archangel and an angel?
And to me, and the way they've explained that to me is it's just what frequency they vibrate at. Because when you get down to it, everything's frequency. An atom is an
Absolutely.
atom. It's
Yeah.
what frequency it vibrates at. And it's, yeah, and it's the same for them. Frequency just, yeah, it impacts them even, in a different way than it does us.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's, they are the frequency. That's even how they speak to each other,
Yeah.
is with frequency.
And it's not really hierarchical, you know.
No, no.
It's I think
The higher lower is a human interpretation. Faster, slower would be closer to the truth.
I must be having a problem with my. I'm sorry. I'm just
Oh,
gonna. I'm gonna. Okay. Can you hear me?
yes, actually, I can hear you better.
Just make. I've got to turn you up now. I totally get that. This kind of fascinates me because, for one thing, uh, I think there is, particularly from people that tap in or have a certain line of communion with the universal. Obviously the universe speaks to each and every one of us in its own unique way. The universe, uh, and we're kind of like trying to put all this together. Everybody's got different pieces of the puzzle. But what I'm saying is, they're seeing. I know it's a lot for someone like you and many other people to pull down such a powerful, profound frequency. Let's just put it that way, or multiple frequency. You see people referring to things in a hierarchical way, but there's really not that way in the
Mm-mm.
universe, is it? From your experience, what are your thoughts
No,
on
it
that?
is not at all.
Which is kind of strange because I mean, my wife and I, we've been very public about our experiences, and we've
Mhm.
had three different monadic dimensional groups that we've met with. And I asked them the same question. I said, you know, the main one, or what I thought would be like the highest one or whatever, was one with 12. And the one that spoke to us of the 12 was actually her and I in that body, basically, is the way they explained it. And I said, how does this work? You know, how does this work? And basically what they explained is that it was all connected, but they're just vibrational complexes. And wherever your vibration is where you can remain, because
Right.
you'll be pushed out, pushed up, pushed down, pushed sideways, whatever. Now for you, you obviously have a vibrational frequency match to these angels. Have they explained much to you about how the lines of communication work, how the connections work in the universe?
That's a that's a tough question, to be honest. Yeah, and I can't say that I say they have tried, and
Mhm.
I don't get it yet.
Yeah.
Is it?
I really appreciate your down to earthness too. That's a really nice contrast to be tapped in like that and to be so down to earth. You know, that's cool. Thank you.
Uh, I think grounding is one of the most important things we can do.
And I love, you know, people come on the show and always talk about that. And I'm always curious to ask, how do you ground?
And to me, water is one of the most important things. Um, yeah, I do like to work with plants, but for me, it is one of the most important things I can do is go stand in a body of water.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting to hear people, the different things that they say. And it's everybody seems to be different. You know, I know for me, it's just walking. It's like I feel like I got ants in my pants or something's going to happen. I just start walking.
Yeah,
Don't, you know, or
and I'm
do,
not saying
yeah,
that doesn't help, because it
yeah,
does.
yeah, yeah. And
But
water, a lot of people talk about water. Now, what's your daily routine or relationship with these angels? Are they particular angels that have stayed with you? Do the other ones pop in and out? How does that work?
yeah, there's both. I have ones that I work with on a daily basis. Ones that seem, the ones that appear in meditation a great deal. There's ones that work with me specifically for the different artwork, that I create. There's ones that work with me for doing the angel portraits that I do for people.
Mm,
Um, I also do, crystal singing bowl meditations. There's another totally different group that work for me to do that. And those aren't all my personal angels.
mm,
Some of the ones, they're ones that just help me do these different tasks.
yeah, yeah. I know when I first woke up, it was 24. Well, the ones that came to me told me, and again, this is not gospel for everyone. This is just in my own universe. I'm not saying this is how it works, but they told me that everyone had three. Pretty
Yeah,
much everyone had three, and
minimum.
yeah. That's what maybe that's what they said. But they said you have at least three, and they said you got 24, and they showed them to me, and they came around a lot. But there was a lead one of the 24. It was a female or feminine energy.
Mm.
It seemed to be anyway. But I wonder about that too, because they seem so prominent. I kind of I wonder, like people talk about now. Do you have any type of galactic connection at all, or is it all angelic?
For me, it's mostly angelic.
Okay,
Not exclusively, but mostly.
so you do catch the frequency band of a galactic every now and then.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
I always wonder about that. What's the relation there? Whenever I tap into it, they just seem to be different dimensions or different
Hmm.
complexes at different vibrational frequencies.
Yeah, different vibrational frequencies is the way it's been explained to me, and the way it's easiest for me to understand.
Do you have a relationship with any archangels? A lot of people talk about Metatron and Michael, Gabriel.
I've worked with many of them at different times. I've even, they've come and asked me to draw, what they show me of their particular energy patterns, and I've drawn those as well.
Somebody asked a good question here. Um, from your perspective, are these aspects of you? Are they something you see outside of yourself? Or well, they also said or both, which kind of neutralizes the answer and the question.
And I see them outside of myself,
Hmm.
but yeah, there is a stronger connection.
Yeah,
My understanding is as we move to the higher frequencies, there'll be a merging that takes place.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what we've experienced. We've experienced uh, as we clear and accept to elevate.
Hmm.
Um, it feels like it is emerging.
Hmm.
It's a physical merging sensation of merging through the chakras, and as we have experienced it, it seems to be embodied within us. I think that's pretty much what you're saying too.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
why working with the chakras and getting them to, not just lined up, but actually all spinning in the same direction at the same speed and getting them to be, like the same size. Because an underactive chakra is going to be too small, an overactive chakra is going to be too large. We want them, all, truly working together.
right. And now I know you've been a practitioner. I mean, there's a lot of different versions of what we might call energy practitioners,
Yes.
but essentially it's all the same thing.
It's
Be
all
like,
tapping into the same thing, I think, just, in a different way.
yeah. Now, what I was going to ask you is, there's been a lot of discussion particularly in 2019 and definitely in 2020. Somebody put up a post. It's already been 5 months. And it's been a tough 5 months in 2020, but it's only the 20th of January. Um, so there's been a lot of that here this year as well. In regard to the level, speed, and continuing acceleration of our expansion, which ultimately is collectively through the individual's efforts, raising our frequencies and coming into contact with more and more situations which you and others have been experiencing for a long time now. What I'm asking you is, have you seen a change in your clientele? Have you seen them come in the door, so to speak, with a more expansive, open-minded, I don't know, at a higher level? And I know these adjectives are difficult to work with, but and has it affected your modalities of healing?
Um, I have experienced people that seem to be, like just starting their journey.
Hmm.
It's like they've, stuff that I studied for 10 years to figure out and even have an understanding of. They walk in just knowing it.
Yeah,
It seems to be like, we're getting very, very close to a tipping point.
yeah,
And as we get closer to that tipping point, it's just easier for people to understand these, what we think of as spiritual concepts.
yeah, yeah. I think so, and it seems like that the field of information and data and code is expanding. It's expanded by individuals such as yourself when they make contact, when they merge, when they embody more, when they clear. And I guess it's like a wildfire. But yeah, a lot of them have talked about that. They've talked about how their modalities, their healing modalities, have altered and had to adapt to the increasing collective expansion of their clientele.
Mhm.
Uh, and that I've had some tell me that they've actually, it's kind of like gotten so fast that each one of the sessions is basically customized in the spontaneous moment, based on the vibrational match or mismatch or whatever, the read or whatever. Have you experienced anything like that?
Yeah, particularly with the crystal singing bowl meditations that I do for groups. I don't typically do those for individual, as I find them to be much more impactful, not just for the people present, but for you know, the community as well. But yeah, I have made a lot of adjustments with those. Incorporating more and more um, crystals and stones as I do those, including putting crystals and stones inside the bowls, doing very complicated, sometimes healing grids, and as an addition to that. And that just continues to be, adding different things. And each one of those is definitely very different.
Yeah.
I have people that, are very regulars that come to those, that hardly miss one. And and it's evolved quite a bit.
In Kansas City.
Yes.
We have a good friend that lives over there.
Yeah, we actually have a much larger metaphysical and New Age community here than you'd think we would.
I haven't been there in a long time, but that doesn't surprise me. She was telling me some things. She lives outside of Kansas City, but she's been tapped in locally to a group for many, many years. I was going to ask you, I think one of the advantages of having angels bring you in the door is that angels is kind of more acceptable, because it has a religious overtone to it that probably fits in most
people. It does. For some people, it does.
Yeah. But so many people that have stories like yours, regardless of what the faces of the universe were that were escorting them or whatever their journey was, have been the outcast, have been made fun of, have had to hide, and be suppressed, basically, not come out. Did you go through a lot of that, and when did that start to shift for you?
Yeah, it did. Actually, from probably about the age of about 7 until around 94, it started shifting. And then there was a huge shift in 97 for me. And that's when I started seeing, because I always just saw my own angels for most of it. In 97 was when I started seeing everybody else's. And then, and that took a little time. And now it's partly too at that time I had 2 teenage sons that I was raising, as well as 2 toddlers. So I was just a little busy with some of that, and kind of, even the first 6 months that I was seeing everybody else's angels, and they were asking me to start, drawing them or in some way. I argued about that for about the first 6 months, and kind of going, why me?
Yeah. Well, you're not alone there. A lot of people I've talked to, I think we've all done it. You're arguing, because we've had to, and I'm sure you had to, especially having the responsibilities that you've had in the household. But we've been asked, to do things that are not normal, and that's and the reason I love talking about this, because there's, like you said earlier, there's a lot of people that are just kind of waking up. And I think waking up, for me, another way to put it would be more like accepting, because we can poo-poo this away. You know how that goes. And then you have coincidence, and they all kind of line up, and you just can't argue with it. But what I'm getting at is, how tough was that on your psyche, on the human aspect, to keep pushing through? And was it easy for you? Was it difficult for you?
Both. Fortunately and unfortunately, both in some ways. I'm very stubborn. And it was something I just couldn't let go of. Have I lost relationships and had relationships changed? Most definitely. Um, yeah, particularly, family members, it's been the hardest for, I would say,
Yeah.
the immediate family. Yeah, and to be honest, to this day, we still don't really even talk about it.
Well, you're surrounded by like-minded people because we're all in the same boat.
Uh-huh.
Most everybody, I think, I can probably speak for most of the people listening, but and on the replay, a lot, everyone has that story, and I think we have to give a little respect. That's why our #2 hashtag here at Soulogy is the human is the hero, because the human aspect is the one that's conscious all the time.
Mhm.
You can tap into and see what you can see, and everyone's got different things, but the human is always constant. It's like, and it's now, and you have responsibilities at home, which I find absolutely fascinating.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
then
and
you're,
my kids are all grown up now, so
yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, during this process, while you were dealing with these things, what we might call the non-physical,
Mhm.
I mean, because it may be physical because I've seen things, and the person next to me is not seeing it.
Right.
You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Now,
Mhm.
have you had, and I love this part of what we're all getting into as well. My wife and I, we've had mutual dimensional experiences with physical apparitions. So that merging of the physical and the non-physical.
Mhm.
So it's one thing when you see it, like the early days of my waking, see things on your own, and you tell people about it, and they're like, "Oh, Dad's crazy." But when you see it with someone else, have you had that experience with people with the work you do? Do you ever?
For other people to see what I do,
Yeah,
no.
where you're both having an experience together, be it a session or not, and there is two or more people that are seeing, with the five senses, something's happening that they're sharing.
Um, to see exactly what I see, no, I have not had that
Mm.
experience yet. They have energetically felt the presence. They've just not had the visual piece.
Somebody mentioned the stubbornness thing, and I don't want to let that go because I love that you said that. I've often, because I'm the same way, and most of the people that we talk to on this show are the same way. And it's funny because a stubborn human makes for a stubborn soul, and I think that's why we were given the missions that we've chosen, because you had to be stubborn.
Yeah.
You had to be.
And I've always blamed it on the Iowa farm girl in me.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
and maybe that had part of it. It was part of it, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I think it comes before your Iowa incarnation. I think this is going way back. You
You're
know,
probably right.
I always tell the team, be it
Mhm.
whoever, that, hey, I'm the one down here doing the work. No disrespect.
Mhm.
Archangel Michael, thank you for popping in. Yeshua, thank you for popping in. Whoever, Dragons, Galactics, but I'm here doing the work, and I'm going to have a say so, and I'm gonna be involved here in the decision making. You have to be
Uh,
careful how you talk to the universe, because it will come and give you a swift kick if you.
oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's another thing too that I find fascinating with people like you. That's why I made the comment, uh, with respect, with about your down to earthedness and humility, but also that when you're pulling that kind of profound connection in, every now and then you're like, "Well, I'm pretty clever. Oh, wow, look what I can do." It's probably a long time ago since that happened, but that humility doesn't come from not, experience the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah, we've all had the spiritual clue by four upside the head.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a few of them, believe me, especially since I met this, since I incarnate, or the physical, you know, divine feminine that's been manifested in my life. It's almost like living with Samantha from Bewitched. When the nose starts to twinkle, I start to run.
How long have you
So
guys been together?
how long?
Yeah.
Uh, we met on September the 3rd at 3:33 a.m. Central Time, on a message. That's so.
Oh,
Oh, 2015. So we'll
2015. Okay.
be going on 5 years now. Do your angels do they give you collective intel? Do they tell you what's going on? Uh, and or through your sessions, like in the QHHT, some of these people come out and say, here's what I'm getting from all the different clients I'm talking to. Do you ever get any kind of intel like that? And if so, what?
Sometimes I do, not always. Yeah, and particularly in sessions, it's more geared towards information for that particular person. A
Mhm.
lot of times it's more, guidance and things that they need to be doing to progress their personal growth.
Yeah. I wonder, and you mentioned something about this at the top of the show, about in terms of communicating, or let's say connecting, that they're all different bandwidths or frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
and no hierarchy and all that. But I would think there's pretty solid evidence now of a collective elevation of frequencies. Like it can't be stopped almost. I mean, it's becoming too
Yeah,
well known.
yeah,
Now,
not just one tone. It's a song.
yeah, exactly.
Is the best way I think for us as
Yeah,
humans to understand it.
yeah. And what I was going to ask you, because it seems to me that one of the things that, and I really don't like saying this because I'm not one of those to say, oh, these people that, or these people aren't awake or that. But what I mean is that it seems like there's many people that don't realize how big the teams are that are with us. And I got to think what you said earlier, that as we start to rise collectively more and more, then more and more people are going to become aware of that. It's a pretty thick neighborhood, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's amazing just to, taking an Uber ride and noticing that the driver has, a whole bunch of crystal, bracelets on their hand,
Hmm.
around their wrist, or, different things, sitting on their dash.
Yeah,
You encounter people that, are, it's somewhere on their spiritual journey in any walk of life. You know,
yeah.
uh,
How do
down
you
to
how do you deal with, or do you deal with at all, what goes on in the global atmosphere? You talked about family
yeah.
and how your work, your passion, your knowing is not going to be overridden by all that stuff, because otherwise you'd have a relationship with them like we all would. But
Mhm.
as far as the global part, the big bad matrix and this and that, and do you even look at that stuff? And if you do, how do you deal with that?
Most of the time, I acknowledge that it's there. I do pay a little bit of attention as to what's going on around me energetically. Some people talk about, how some of us have been specifically targeted. Am I one of those individuals? I would say yes. Um, and most of the time, it's just I just take my next step and what I'm supposed to do today,
Yeah,
and yeah, what my goals are, and not give that any energy.
yeah.
Because
And
I
there
think that's
seems, I think,
the more we think about it, the more we talk about it, the more, it's like the more energy, it's given. Even like, there's a lot of people that, for example, not very happy with the person who, we think is in charge in the White House right now.
I like the way you qualified that statement. Who we think is in charge. Thank you very much, people.
Yeah,
Listen up.
but part of the reason he is there is because, like him or not, we were all talking about him and focusing on that and giving him that energy and that time, and that, media time even, and that's how he got there. If we
Mhm.
would focus on what we truly want, not on what we don't want, that's how we're going to manifest, yeah, help manifest these changes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even go further, um, you know, um, what you focus, well, if I'm focused on anything outside of me, then I'm taken away from what really my main focus should be, as within without. So we're talking inner work, shadow work. What is it in this person that you're referring to that I may not like? If it makes me uncomfortable, and there's something about that person or any other person, you know, it's not about them. It's
Right.
about me, you know. And I think this is some of that. That's the sacred wisdom, I think, maybe
Yeah, because
that's been kept from us, you know, first and foremost. You know, now we're like the dog chasing its tail that just bit its tail, realizing it was itself it was chasing.
yeah, so much of our world, it's not about what's going on around us, it's how we choose to
Yeah.
react to it.
How do you, and there's no right or wrong answer, we're just having a conversation. How do you look at, uh, well, dark and light, wrong and right? Do you see anything as being separate from you, or anything? You know, I
As
struck. Go ahead.
as a human, of course I do.
Mm.
But yeah, and that is one of the things that I'm working on a daily basis is
Mhm.
to realize that it's not separate.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
the
And that,
separation is the
yeah,
true illusion. The true lie is
yeah,
separation.
that's right. And that's starting to get a lot of. We're not even alternate news. We're more like under the radar news or something. But in this community, there's more and more talk because it's inevitable. Oneness is oneness. I mean,
Hmm.
there is no.
There are
Uh,
no exclusions from one.
that's right. That's
No matter
exactly right.
if you think something is good or bad, right or wrong, light or dark, it doesn't matter. It's still all oneness.
And if you focus on it, you know, which can be resistance as well, you know,
Right. Hmm.
it's you're going to pull it in. It's going to continue to loop back around. And but I love what you said earlier too, because you know oneness is oneness, and you know that's going back to the cosmic 2x4 across the head. You know, we have these absolutes that we throw down to the universe. We'll say, I accept everything, but not the. I am that, but I'm not that. And
Hmm.
like, okay, here we go. We're going to put you into the PhD level now, and really, we're going to make this a 2x12 instead of a 2x4, right? You know, yeah, but that's nice to hear that, you know, from somebody who's been in so deep. Because a lot of people, not a lot, but I've noticed, because I've also noticed a lot of people transforming throughout the last, you know, year and a half. They're really going through transformations, like really being adamant about, here's my role, here's what I do, this is the way it is. I've had people send me things and say, this is all you need to do, read these numbers and you'll be healed, or listen to this, or and watch them change, and become more pliable and more open. It's almost like, the burden, the blessing's a burden. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's like winning the lottery. Like you can see angels around people, and you know you're still you, and you're
Hmm.
still willing to admit that, hey, you know, as a human, my human aspect, yes, I don't feel like I'm one with everything. That's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. If I think if we understood, truly understood those things, we wouldn't be here anymore.
No, no, we wouldn't. The game would be over, and who wants to go? I'm not ready to go. You
Mm.
know, I want to stay down here. We didn't come here just to wake up and be aware. We came here to make something happen. You know, I mean, now that we've come this far, I mean, let's get jiggy with it. You know, let's team your angels, your angel knowledge and wisdom with this piece and that piece, and start to see what we can create.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
there's no one way, or there's not an interstate taking us to, the awakening point.
no,
We're all going to get there in different ways.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
you know,
if it was that easy, there'd be the one book out there we could all read and figure out how to get from point A to point B, and we'd already have done it.
that's right.
And
Yeah,
and because we're all supposed to do it, get there a little bit different way. That's the fun part.
that's right. That's right. We're all bulldozing new neural cosmic pathways, you
Hmm.
know. And that's one thing that I got early on was they would tell me, because I said, what the hell do I do? You know, because you get that information comes in and you're like, okay, now what do I do with this? And they're like, well, figure it out.
And
But
sometimes
whatever you do,
information is just for you.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yes, yes. That's, you know what? That's a great point. And I've said it a few times, not because I'm smart, but because I've observed it. Whatever somebody's pulling down, no matter what it is, it's first meant for them, right? And then as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So there's some pattern in the equation that they can share and cookie cut, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. So is okay, so I don't want to run out of time. We still got a good 15 minutes or so, but we can start this process a little earlier. Now, is there anything that you would like to do, that you would like to share, or that you would like to say? You know, because I don't really, you know, I like to keep it flexible and open. So the floor is yours, basically. If there's something you would like to healing, a prayer, a commentary, whatever you want to sing and dance, that's fine too.
I
Yeah,
don't think you want to see me do things.
yeah.
That's not one of my talents. Um, yeah, I think the most important thing that we can really be doing right now is just finding a way to, yeah, I would like to say love each other, and I know sometimes it's hard to go that far, but find a way to respect the other person's journey.
Yeah, yeah. After all, they're going through the same damn thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know.
yeah, they just, their point A wasn't exactly the same place yours was, and their
Yeah,
point, their ending point may not be either,
that's
but,
right.
or what their goal is for right now.
Yeah, yeah, true. And you know, and then and of course the closest circles are tough, you know. And I remember early, you know, in my early 20s when I started working on myself and reading stuff and writing in my journal over and over. Your parents are just people; they just happen to be your parents, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have problems with our parents, you know. But they're we all signed up for the same thing, and if there's nothing else to show respect for, we chose to come down here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we chose to do this work, and you know, the way I see it, the whole universe is watching us, and we're the darlings of the universe. We've
At the
got,
moment, yeah.
yeah, yeah, we've got some guts. I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of people that have channeled or downloaded communicated messages from angelics and galactics. They talk about it, you know, and even in my own experience, you know, we've had experiences where they've come and told us, hey, you know, you guys, we're going to take a knee and we're going to bow to you. And we're, you know, looking around going, oh my God, you know, but it's real work we're doing here. It really is.
Yeah, I know sometimes in the crystal bowl meditations I do, particularly when I'm working with that many people, yeah, it's amazing how many angelics will come into the room, and sometimes they will literally go on down what looks like bended knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, other times they're sending us all the love and healing energy they know how to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks like fireworks just going through the room, just going everywhere. There's just so much, light and energy, moving through the room.
Now you see the angels as far as visually in light, rays of light or beams. Do they have specific colors? And have you had any experience with golden beams?
Um, yeah, the short answer is yes and yes. Colors can and particularly in the angel portraits that I draw, when it has to do with what lessons and things are trying to help that that person with at that at this particular point in their evolution. Um, have I seen golden beings? Yes, I have. If they have not, I have not seen those, where that they were attached to or connected to a
Yeah.
specific person. Um, have they helped me with certain things? Yes. Um, there was definitely some that helped me with a project I did. I don't know how much you know about what's called the solfeggio frequencies.
Yes.
Where there's actually 9 sets of 9 frequencies, so a total of 81. And I've actually channeled and drawn a mandala for each one of those 81 frequencies.
Do you have one of those handy?
No, actually, no, I don't, but they are all on my website. And there's coloring books and meditation decks with those, as well as prints of all the specific ones, and information about what each one does. But there was always a golden being present as I was working on those and listening to those frequencies to help create those and channel the information with those.
What's the name of your website?
My website is super easy, SusanWalterArt.com.
We'll go. These
Trying to
3D things are so difficult.
give me just a second. I think I probably can grab one of those.
No, I'm gonna pull it up on the screen.
Let's see. Let's grab one.
So you're good. So
Here's some
I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. I'm gonna pull your website up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's one of
Yeah.
the mandalas that I did.
That's very cool. We'll pull some up here in a minute and get a better picture. I want to go back to these golden beans real quick.
Mhm. Yeah, and I know I have not talked to anybody else about those. What do you know about them?
Well, we started. I think they started coming around summer of the 2018. I remember there was a couple episodes, but really when we went to Hawaii about a year ago, that really started to come out. You know, there was a particular place that we would go to, kind of a what do you call it, where like a land where you're looking out at something pretty, whatever you call that. I can't think of what the hell you call it. But anyway, there was a couple of mountains with a bunch of waterfalls, and we would get called there, and they'd pop in, and they'd pop in other times too. But they seemed to be, and they came a lot over there, and they seemed to be. They told us that we're here, we're always here, we're here to help you. I wish I could remember some of the specific messages, but I remember that they had kind of an agenda in a good way, information, such that type of thing, and trying to utilize us and others, I guess, to get that frequency out there. But and the other reason I had brought it up is because of quite a few people that I've run into in the past year have mentioned golden beans. So it's almost like they started coming around as we expanded collectively, or enough of us did, or whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, I know. I started the mandala project in 2011. I finished it the end of 2018, at least, completing all the drawings and things. Yeah, and they were with me during the entire project.
wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, I still see them occasionally, but not as often now that project is complete.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember some of the stuff that came in, but it was all very constructive. I remember that it was like constructive information, or yeah. So now what plans do you have? You got anything coming up? Anything that you might want to announce, whether it's a course or a book or cards or appearances?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Milwaukee the end of March. And all the crystal ball meditations they do, those are just here in Kansas City, or most of them. I will be doing one in Milwaukee when I'm there. I am wanting to do some more traveling. I'd like to go to some different conferences, but I haven't chosen which specific ones I'm going to do this year yet. I'm in the process of finalizing, getting all the data files together on the computer to put like the coloring books I've done. Right now there are 9 separate ones with each, like one of the sets together. I'm wanting to put that into one big book and get that printed at some point. And just.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of this. Um, Guardian, angel portraits, adult coloring books, and meditation decks. Solfeggio, mandala art, original art.
Yeah, and I'm continuing to, paint using both acrylics and watercolors and things, on a daily basis.
Wow. Crystal singing bowl CDs.
Yeah, I have been in the studio and recorded 2 CDs. One is, has a guided meditation at the beginning, and the other one is just 50 minutes of crystal bowls. And the bowls I have are all solfeggio frequencies as well.
Wow. Is there anything here you want me to open up? I don't want to open up something if you don't want me to, but
Um, yeah, whatever you'd like, actually.
let's try it. My wife has probably done like 1,000 mandalas. She does some incredible stuff when pulls down a lot of information and processes it and puts it out through these mandalas. Now these you're actually, oh, let's see.
Yeah, just click anywhere on that picture and it should.
There it goes.
There it goes.
So on these, are you starting from scratch? Do they tell you what it needs to look like?
Yeah, they have. To the first set of 9, which was the earthly solfeggio frequencies, I used an old antique toy called the Hootenanny, which is the grandfather to the spirograph.
I remember the Hootenanny.
Yeah, so I used that a lot with the very first set. And then, then starting with the second set, because one of the things I then struggled with a little bit was some symmetry. So starting with the second set, I would start, do the line drawing on the computer in Photoshop, because I'm a little bit of a tech geek. And as I would color it in by hand using prism color pencils, then sometimes it would change because I would continue to work with and listen to that particular frequency as I created it, the mandala, and so sometimes it would change. So they were they were very specific about what it was to look like.
Wow, this is good stuff. It's very good stuff. I would. Here's an angel, guardian angel portrait. She gives an explanation. How do I purchase? Can I do it from a photo? Will you get my angel name? There's like a FAQ section. What does your angel have to say to you? Color interpretation. So this is some unique stuff. SusanWalterArt.com.
Yeah, and even I do get a name at the end. The names, because they're true names, would take about 15 to 20 minutes to pronounce. So they, and we just as humans, we need something shorter than that. So they spell for me a piece of it. I am never to pronounce it. So the pronunciation is totally what feels right to the person. There's no right or wrong. And if they want to abbreviate it further, that's okay too. And then one of the things that I've learned here just in the last couple years is, you can apply numerology then to the spelling that I'm given, and that can also give you some insights. And one of the things that actually just changed about, just over a year ago, I started seeing this script as I'm doing the angel portraits. And it usually starts at the throat and then goes down the center of the body. And it's a message that is from the angelics to the higher self. So it is not something you need to consciously understand what it is. But it is some sort of message. It is some sort of ancient, well, for us, it would be an ancient language. And at this point, I've been told at some point that I will be able to read it, as yet I cannot.
Beautiful.
So it's continuing to evolve for me too.
That's good. Yeah. It's been I enjoyed this. Thank you for sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence,
Thank
and
you. And
somehow or another materializing at the front of the line. I don't know how that happened, but
I don't know
it's all
either.
beautiful. We have a very dear friend that lives in Kansas City, and she's a very high frequency lady. She's in the crowd. I saw her a minute ago.
I'd
Um,
love to get in
so
contact with her.
I
If not,
think,
I'm not already friends with her. I'd love to be. And
yeah,
if you're in
she
Kansas City, let me know. I'd love to meet you in person.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm referring to. I think we're probably going to head up there at some point, but you know how it goes in the Ascension. I mean, you can't really make any plans, you know,
Yeah, I have found plans kind of went out the window a couple years.
right? You know, I mean, we're 8 years and we still don't have a website, although it's coming along, people.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was that was actually my tech job and my corporate job for many years as I
Uh,
was a designer and developer.
well, you had it. Yeah, there you go.
So
But
I've just
it's all good.
transitioned now. But to be honest, I got out of the corporate industry 6 years ago, and I've
Yeah,
been doing this full time ever since.
yeah, yeah. That's good. And more people are doing that.
Hmm.
So I look forward to collaborating with you again. Very
Yeah.
likely could see you in Kansas City. Maybe we could, do a little collaboration there. Maybe cover one of your your singing bowl
Oh, yeah, that'd be
events, or
fun.
just something to expand awareness and expand the code and the energetics of what you're producing and your work's producing. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Best to you. All blessings to you and your family. And I look forward to seeing you again sometime.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.